So the War Within announcement was super exciting, but then that kinda got me wondering, like, we know that the expansion will be released probably in about a year, which leaves us with a year gap with Dragonflight, and we know that 10.2 is going to be the final raid, so are we actually just going to wait? Like, what are we going to do until that point? Luckily, we just got amazing news from Blizzard that even though 10.2 is the final raid, we should be expecting content patches every 8 weeks until the expansion is actually released, so we are going to be in for some really amazing times. They told us that exciting things will be happening, people have been requesting, as well as some surprising things that no one is actually expecting. We will almost certainly get the continuation of the tier questline, we will definitely get the Night Elven restoration, we might be in for something happening with Gilneas, and we are also probably going to be in for some race class combinations, maybe Night Elven Paladins, maybe new Druid combos, and we also could be in for a new race, the tuskarr, that people have been requesting since forever. It already happened once in BFA, we got a few races by the end, so why not happen now? So what is all this news about these new patches, and what are we going to get through the next year? Did you know you can play WoW directly on your phone? Well, with this video sponsor, Awesome, you can control your PC with your phone completely free, and it is available for Windows, iOS, and Android. It is super easy to use my link to download it, get the phone and the PC app, and just connect it. The free version is powerful as you can control your desktop, transfer files, but the game version is where it is at. It has custom keyboards for various games such as Warcraft, and you can enjoy AFK gaming anytime, anywhere with actual game sound. Make sure to use my code DORON to get 7 days completely free to try it out, only for the first 200 people. They also got a smart plug to turn off your PC at any time, as well as hot sales with up to 40% off on Pro and game versions. Check out Awesome. So I gotta admit, as soon as I heard about the War Within announcement, I was super excited, but immediately as I heard that the release date is probably going to be by the end of the year, potentially even December 2024, that already kinda got me worried, like, what are we going to be doing in Dragonflight? Because we know Farak is the final big boss, there won't be new raids, so that kinda got me wondering, like, how this is going to work out. But then Blizzard came out with an interview giving us some amazing new information on how it is actually going to work out. So to very quickly sum it up, obviously 10.2 isn't the final patch, it is the final raid, the final big patch, and we will be getting 10.2.5, 10.2.7. This isn't news whatsoever, everyone actually expected this, but based on this interview, we should be getting potentially 10.2.8, maybe 10.2.7 plus, maybe 10.3 that is not actually a major patch, and we are probably going to also be in for the pre-patch and the next expansion as well, so there's gonna be a whole ton of content. This is pretty much exactly what they said. We should be getting a roadmap soon, but we are going to expect new content every 8 weeks, which is even less than 2 months. So as you may know, 10.2 was just released. We should expect a new patch 10.2.5 to happen somewhere around January, so very early winter. Around March, maybe April, but probably March, we should expect 10.2.7. Then based off of this, we should expect to get 10.2.8 or whatever it would be called around May or June. Then probably around August, maybe September, we should get the pre-patch for the War Within, and then we should of course get the expansion release date, which is probably going to be happening around late October, November, which is also going to lead us into the WoW Midnight announcement, which will bring us a whole ton of new features. Now, all of these are super exciting times to actually be a WoW player in, because we know that they can confirm that they already have 3 teams working on World of Warcraft. So they got a full-on team working on the War Within, which is the next expansion. They got a full-on team working on WoW Midnight, and they also got another live team that is working on these new upcoming updates. This could seriously be an unprecedented amount of content, as keep in mind, they're already deep in development for Midnight, which means by the time Midnight is going to be announced, the next expansion will be half finished, and the team is probably just going to go all in on the last Titan, while the remaining 2 will be working on WoW Midnight. So we kinda already have an outline for the next 3 expansions, but the real question is, what are these remaining 3 Dragonflight patches going to be about? We already know how Dragonflight is sort of ending, so what will be happening, and luckily we actually got some hints on what should be going on in Dragonflight that is not just pure speculation. Blizzard told us they are super excited about these 3 upcoming updates. It is going to feature a few things the players have been requesting since forever, as well as a few surprises that no one is actually expecting, and it's going to very likely be something big. So before we get into the speculation, I mean, let's kind of cover like what we actually know, like what is not just speculation and what is based on evidence from the things we have data mined in Dragonflight and everything that has already happened in the storyline. First of all, we of course have the tier storyline, the tier questline that has been happening since the start of Dragonflight, and it will almost certainly be continuing in the next few patches. We already have hints that we will be going to Night's Hold, probably in a time travel scenario, to recover some discs, and they also talked about the Shadowbane's Fated Season, so they want to implement something similar, and we might be seeing some sort of time travel scenarios in at least one of these patches. Now, seeing that through the new book, all this new Titan info, Tyr doesn't actually seem to be a great guy, so I'm not actually certain why we're still trying to bring him back, but based on these storylines, we're probably going to be bringing him back in some shape or form, so this is probably going to lead us into a Titan-related storyline that could be happening already in Dragonflight. Now, I don't think this is going to be some huge Titan storyline, seeing that the last Titan is going to be a Titan expansion. This is probably going to be something minor. However, if Tyr potentially turns into a bad guy, he might actually escape to Northrend, hide himself somewhere in Ulduar. He could later be the one that is going to actually bring the Titans to Ulduar, because remember, in the last Titan they said the Titans will be returning through Ulduar. He could also potentially rebel against the Titans, so Tyr could even become our ally, and we could use him sort of as insider information for the upcoming Titan battle. So all of this could be a setup for like the 3rd expansion will be happening in the next few years. Furthermore, we also got some hints in the new book about some new interesting locations being available in Northrend related to the primal incarnates, related to dragons, so we could potentially be going into Northrend in one of these patches. Probably not going to be a major storyline, as the Northrend is going to be like the main place in the last Titan, but we could maybe getting a minor storyline happening, so we could even have a potential like return to Northrend, including Tyr, some of the aspects. Although I honestly think like the major part of the storyline is definitely going to be saved for the last Titan, as we'll almost certainly get the whole revamped content. Now, another super obvious hint that it will definitely be happening in one of the patches is this whole Night Elven restoration that has been building up pretty much for the past like 2 expansions since the burning of Teldrassil. We already kind of know what is going to happen. We know Amir Drasil is coming. The biggest hint right now is that it is just going to be teleported to the Oneran Plains, because the Emerald Dream is literally just a zone west of the main Oneran Plains. However, there have also been some hints that it could potentially return to Kalimdor, although nothing is certain, but we have data mined a whole bunch of old Night Elven NPCs, which means that the Night Elven restoration is definitely going to be happening, although we don't really know 100% how exactly it is going to play out. Now, while we're of course talking about the restoration, of course Gilneas is always a popular topic, and something could definitely be happening with them, because we know the Vorgen and the Night Elves are always connected. There have been some hints about it, but I don't think like a full-on restoration is super likely in Dragonflight. I mean, in Wild Midnight, we're obviously getting a huge revamp of that entire part of the Eastern Kingdom, so there is definitely being saved for that, but we could be getting some sort of like an introductory questline that will kind of lead into Wild Midnight, so maybe some sort of organ returning, or we know that they're planning to return soon, which is going to be like a build-up. Now, you may be thinking like these upcoming patches are going to be minor. They usually include some minor features, not necessarily new zones, but that doesn't always have to be the case. I mean, we had gotten the entire zone on the Forbidden Reach. Furthermore, they're already working. They got a full team working on Wild Midnight, so they probably already have a whole bunch of assets ready. So I wouldn't really be surprised if they included just a few, so that like the transition for the big revamp is going to be easier later down the line. Now, of course, other than the more major storylines, we should definitely be looking for some more smaller features, so definitely something dragon riding related, and we could also be in for some really interesting new race class combinations and also customizations, because they're pretty much adding those all the time. So of course, with all this Emerald Dream stuff, the druids, we could be expecting more druids to be added. I mean, they just added a whole bunch of new druid forms, so we could be getting new races to become druids, and we could also potentially be getting new paladins as well with all this Night Elven stuff, so we may be be in for Night Elven Paladins happening, so I'm 100% expecting some sort of like new race class combinations being added to the game right before Dragonflight ends. Now, of course, the biggest thing that could be super interesting is that we could be in for playable tuskarr. They said that they will be adding some community requests and also some secret things that no one is expecting, and this could be one of those. As I previously stated, the tuskarr have suspiciously received way too many updates in Dragonflight, despite the fact that they haven't really been on that relevant. So they got new lore, they got new looks, they got all these new changes and everything like being super updated in Dragonflight. Now, new races don't necessarily need to be announced on Blizzcon. As we have learned through BFA, we had gotten a whole bunch of races later down the line as we have finished the questline, so we kind of pick them up after we have helped them. So this could 100% be happening with the tuskarr, and as you may know, the tuskarr are super well added into the game, so they would fit really well as a new playable race, and I think they would also be super popular within the community. However, a super interesting thing that I definitely think could be happening is that we could get a patch that is going to be like a pre-patch, so something related to the War Within. So we could potentially be in for some updates to Silithus, maybe something happening with the sword, maybe doing something around that area, so that it kind of brings us closer to the pre-patch. With the pre-patch, I'm definitely expecting something is going to be happening with those visions. As we had learned, a whole bunch of denizens of Azeroth had gotten these visions, same visions as Anduin and Troll, so something is definitely going to be happening with that. It is going to lead us into some sort of trouble. However, overall, I would say this is all super good news. Despite the fact that Dragonflight has been kind of wrapped up, it hasn't really had the best storyline, and we have kind of finished all the main things. We are definitely going to be in for a lot more things happening. It is not the end of Dragonflight. It's really going to be in a whole bunch of patches going on right before the War Within. Thank you for watching. Check out what is Zelda's crazy plan, because it is crazy, by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on ancient Greek colonies in Spain. I literally recorded this on an archaeological site in Spain personally, so it took a whole lot of time, and you can check that out by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.